Hello everyone, this is Bourg Productions here with a video on how to economize in 12 steps so you never go broke regardless of the times. If you've seen my video Budgeting 101 and how to economize properly, it gives you ideas on how to survive on a shoestring budget without going broke. Since then, I've been analyzing numerous ways a person can survive even if they work a part-time job. Yes, it's possible to live on your own working a part-time job without a social security check, and I'm going to walk you through on how to live autonomous in 12 steps. Keep in mind, I've been researching how this stuff works for a few years, so I should be able to explain how these 12 steps will work effectively. Step 1. Save your money. This is the most obvious thing people need to do if they want to move out of their parents' house and live elsewhere. Budgeting properly will carry you forward into the next step. Step 2. Buy a barn. Buying a portable barn at Lowe's or the Home Depot costs about $2,000 to $3,000 on average. But guess what? It's perfect for a single individual to make a barn into a house. You can say to your friends that you bought a house for $3,000 without waiting 10 years to 30 years to pay it off. After that, if you have an additional $2,000 saved, you can turn your barn into a one-man house and you'll have it made either until you get married or you pass away. Step 3. Buy a wash tub, a washboard, a wringer, and make your own washing detergent. Wash tubs and washboards are pretty cheap. Making your own washing detergent is cheap, from my personal experience. Not only can you save a lot of money on your water bill yearly, but you can also save money in electrical costs as well. If you can't afford a wringer, just wring the clothes with your bare hands. I miss those days. Step 4. Make yourself a clothesline. Once you establish 2 poles, tighten the ropes, and buy clothespins. Drying your clothes will be easy, unless it's cold and/or rainy. If the weather is nice, dry your clothes out on the clothesline. The breeze as well as the sun can help dry your clothes. Again, it will save you money on your electric bill significantly. Step 5. If you want dress shirts, slacks, or jackets, go to your local thrift store or flea market. Sure, you cannot buy certain articles of clothing used, but dress shirts, slacks, and jackets can be reused. In a thrift store or a flea market, you can get great bargains on these clothes. You can also get great bargains on blankets, pillows, and sheets. I think at your local flea market, you could also buy used mattresses depending on the condition of the mattresses. I've seen appliances sold at a great bargain at a flea market over a year ago. Step 6. Buy a wood-burning stove. For anyone living up north, the cold weather is pretty harsh. But if you have a wood-burning stove or fireplace, you can keep your house warm and not have to worry about power outages from ice storms, blizzards, etc. Remember though, always keep your chimney clean so creosote don't build and cause your roof to burn. Between burnings, take those wood ashes and put them in a container so you have free fertilizer for the spring garden. Wherever you buy firewood, be sure to find the best deal possible. Step 7. Plant a garden. With the enormous rise in the cost of food, fruits and vegetables are getting expensive. So here's what you can do this fall. Till a garden and plant the following: collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, romaine lettuce, kale, spinach, broccoli, and cauliflower. For the spring garden, you plant tomatoes, carrots, potatoes, corn, green beans, squash, and watermelon. Once these plants sprout, there are 2 things you can do to fertilize your garden. First, use wood ashes. Second, use your urine, if your urine does not contain any toxic substances. I know wood ashes are understandable, but why urine? Because your urine contains the liquid forms of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But what if you supplement and your urine contains excess minerals? Well, in the case of urine, you have to dilute your urine with water so the acid does not corrode the crops. So if you use your urine as fertilizer, dilute the urine in water and gently hydrate the plants with that. Your urine can not only contain excess minerals if you supplement, but it also contains essential bacteria the soil needs for sustainability. Step 8. Raise your own poultry. Because of meat getting expensive and eggs fluctuating in prices, it makes you question this. Do you want to waste gas buying a dozen eggs from chickens that are confined all day in a chicken house, or do you want to raise your own chickens and get nutrient-dense eggs from the backyard? Chicken eggs are Chicken eggs are delicious, especially when the chickens roam freely out in the open with plenty of sunshine, eating grass and eating poultry pellets. And because you are raising chickens, when it comes to slaughter time, you'll have the best tasting chicken you've ever eaten. Chicken livers are very high in cholesterol, just like eggs are. You can also raise ducks and turkeys as well. I'm raising 6 chickens, 2 ducks, and 2 turkeys. Step 9. If you want red meat and dairy, raise your own goats. Goats are cheaper to raise than cows, and the meat has a higher quality taste. While I've yet to raise goats myself, the benefits of this is that you don't have to take a goat to the slaughterhouse just to get to the meat. You can also raise goats to have dairy with. In comparison to the cost of wasting your gas to buy meat monthly, raising goats can actually save you money in the long run. You've just got to know how to keep the cost low before you actually raise goats. Step 10. Create your own electricity. There are plenty of videos on how you can generate your own electricity for cheap, and it's sustainable as well. How many of you are fed up with the exorbitant electric bills? How many of you are fed up with random power outages? Creating your own electricity not only protects you from random power outages, but it also saves you an enormous amount of money. I suggest you do your research on how to create your own electricity on a shoestring budget. Electric bills should never be well over $150 a month. Step 11. Invest in fruit trees. I admit that I don't eat as much sweets as I used to, but I want you to hear me out on why I'm suggesting this. Most fruits at the supermarkets are laden with pesticides. Even if you deep clean the pesticides off the fruit with water, vinegar, lemon juice, and baking soda, the fruits still are not as tasty. Compare that to the fresh fruits harvested during the seasons. Oranges fresh off the tree during harvest taste great. Same with grapefruit, which is considered bittersweet fresh off the tree. Apples, bananas, which my neighbor gave me fresh off his banana tree, and Meyer lemons. Whatever fruit you taste straight off the tree is sweeter and more nutrient-dense than what you get at the supermarket. Grapefruits at the supermarket are super bitter. Same with lemons. You cannot tolerate lemons without putting sugar on the lemon, but a Meyer lemon fresh off the tree tastes good enough to eat straight. If you decide to grow your own blueberries, be sure to consult your local garden center or nursery to figure out how to keep the blueberry bushes acidic. Those bushes rely heavily on acidic soil to survive. Step 12. Dig a fish pond and raise your own fish. I know the fish eaters out there are saying, "Hey, this guy's got the right idea." Well, here's the thing. If you can find a way to raise your own perch and make them big enough to eat, then you have one of 3 sustainable ways to get your protein. Think about it. Chicken soup from the chicken you slaughtered, meatloaf from the goat you slaughtered, or baked fish from the perch you fished out and killed. The price of fish at markets are so expensive that you need to consider the alternatives. Doing this will help you stay on your land instead of buying a fish sandwich at McDonald's, which is pretty gross. And there are your 12 steps on how to economize. It's so easy that a part-time worker can sustain themselves. Compare that to spending $150 a month on groceries, $150 a month on the electric bill, $100 a month on water, spending money on a gas bill, period, and paying $900 a month for rent in an apartment. A part-time worker cannot survive on this. Even if a part-time worker does not have a Social Security check, these 12 steps in the long run will help make their lives a lot better. Why live in a one-bedroom apartment for nearly $11,000 a year in rent when you can live in a barn for $5,000 in the first year? It gets less expensive after the first year. Anyway, this is Bourg Productions with a video on the 12 steps of economizing. Thank you and good day.